Thank you for staying with us here on THV 11 Plus for Arkansas News Now. I'm Ashley King with meteorologist Simone Thomas. And Simone, you brought us some amazing weather today. It doesn't necessarily feel like winter weather, but it's nice.
Feel like winter weather, but for the first day back at work for a lot of people after the holidays, I feel like this is a nice boost to the caffeine you've probably been consuming today. We've got lots of beautiful blue skies and some sunshine out there. Maybe once you finish watching us, go have lunch outside today on a patio or in a garden. We're just below the 60-degree mark in the capital city. You can see though some of our neighbors to the southwest where some of those clouds are hanging out are leaning cooler, 49 in DeQueen right now, but where we're seeing even more sunshine to our north, Harrison up to 66 degrees. So we do have a little bit of a temperature spread that is being influenced by where we've been holding on to some of those clouds a little bit longer. But looking ahead through the rest of the afternoon, still a few passing clouds can't be ruled out, but definitely looking to get into more of the 60s across central Arkansas. Some lower middle 60s, a few places again to our west that have been holding on to the clouds might hold on to some lower 60s, but definitely looking to be warmer than where we should be for this time of year. I'll tell you a little bit more about this first full week of the new year in your 7-day outlook, so make sure you stick around.
And President Donald Trump's long-running campaign against Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro came to a head on Saturday. The Venezuelan leader and his wife were captured and taken into U.S. custody. Lee Waldman is outside of the federal courthouse where they appeared this morning and brings us up to speed.
Ousted Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro is going to get a court-appointed attorney for his initial appearance here at a federal courthouse in Lower Manhattan. He is expected to have that appearance alongside his wife, Celia Flores, for charges relating to drugs and weapons. Nicolas Maduro, the ousted Venezuelan president, arrived by armed motorcade to a courthouse in New York Monday morning, wearing handcuffs, where he's preparing to face drugs and weapons charges. He and his wife, Celia Flores, were dragged from their bedroom during a large-scale U.S. military operation, according to two sources familiar with the matter. President Donald Trump said the U.S. will control Venezuela indefinitely without giving any details.
We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition.
Trump said Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth would work with a team to help run the country and would be willing to work with the Venezuelan acting president, Delcy Rodriguez. Rodriguez, however, appeared to be loyal to the Maduro government.
We demand the immediate release of President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, the only president of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela.
Sunday, Rubio offered little clarification on what U.S. control would look like.
So it's not running, it's running policy. The policy with regards to this, we want Venezuela to move in a certain direction because not only do we think it's good for the people of Venezuela, it's in our national interest.
Around the world and in the U.S., some are happy for the controversial leader to be gone. Others have voiced skepticism over the U.S.'s motives, denouncing the move as kidnapping and raising concerns about the future of the rule of law. This is just the initial court appearance for this couple. We could hear them enter a plea of not guilty, but typically these initial appearances move rather quickly. This is just the first step in what's expected to be a years-long prosecution of this couple. In Lower Manhattan, I'm Lee Waldman.
And many Arkansas families are still waiting for answers about child care as a federal funding freeze remains in place. The White House has paused payments to all 50 states following allegations of a multi-billion-dollar fraud scheme in Minnesota. Some daycares in Arkansas say the pause is raising concerns about what comes next. They use the federal funding to pay for staff, supplies, and basic operations. For many providers, the timing is especially tough. Tabitha Christopher says earlier changes to child care assistance have already made it harder for daycares to retain staff and led to higher co-pays for families.
It's going to hurt more than just the daycares. It's going to hurt families making decisions on should they still work or stay at home and take care of their kids.
For now, daycare owners say they're still waiting for answers on when that funding will start moving again. Happening now, Arkansas traffic cameras already used to catch speeders in work zones are expanding their reach, and now they can flag drivers using their phones. By the middle of January, state police could begin issuing tickets. Using a handheld device in a work zone is already illegal in Arkansas, but officers say it's been hard to enforce. Under the new system, drivers will see warning signs entering camera-enforced zones, and citations will only be issued when a trooper or officer is on scene. And heads up, Arkansans can start applying for help with their heating bills starting today. The Winter LIHEAP program provides financial help for heating costs and is available through local community action agencies. To qualify, applicants must be responsible for their home energy bill, be a U.S. citizen or a legal resident, and meet federal income and resource guidelines. Applications are accepted on a first-come, first-served basis while funds last. For more information on how to apply and where to go, you can find details on thv11.com. Tonight, Jacksonville North Pulaski's school board meets for the first time this year with parents calling for answers. Concerns stem from the arrest of an elementary school custodian and frustrations over communication about the incident. THV11's Maya Ellison explains what's new and the message from local parents.
I was so livid, I could not, because I already knew it would have escalated if I was there at that first meeting.
Maria Hedwood, a mother of three, says she's still processing what unfolded last month within the Jacksonville North Pulaski School District. Taking a look at the timeline, according to a case summary from the Pulaski County Sheriff's Office and district records, concerns were first raised about 39-year-old Harold Butchart on October 8th. 2 days later, according to the same district records, officials say a teacher, quote, took photographs showing Mr. Butchart hugging a female student from behind while she was seated at a lunch table. Deputies later reviewed video tied to the case. Butchart was eventually terminated on November 3rd, and parents were notified in early December.
I feel like the day the teacher took the picture is the day everybody should have found out. At least 24-hour notice. Like, what do you mean we have to get a handle on this? No, we need to figure out what happened.
An arrest on October 31st came weeks after the district first learned of the incident. Court records say he was charged with 1 count of second-degree sexual assault and harassment, and on November 5th, he later bonded out. Parents, including families of the children involved, voiced frustration during December's school board meeting, questioning why it took nearly 2 months for families to be notified.
No child should ever be harmed in a place that is meant to nurture and protect our kids.
Hedwood says she has since filed paperwork to homeschool her child and, like other parents, is calling for clearer communication moving forward.
Just like, tell me the truth.
The district says it has since implemented additional safety measures, including increased staff training and changes to communication protocols. The school's principal has also resigned, but says it was not related to the incident. And in a statement to THV11, a district spokesperson says officials are cooperating fully with the investigation and that student safety remains their top priority. It's something Hedwood says should always remain.
Keep talking about it. Like, do not stop talking about it until we know the truth, because there's no way.
For THV11 News, I'm Maya Ellison.
And tonight's meeting is set for 6 p.m. at the Pinewood Professional Development Center. For those who can't attend, it will also be live streamed on the school's district's YouTube channel. And coming up after the break here on Arkansas News Now, a story about strangers giving the gift of life and finding new chosen family.
And as we kick off this first work week of the new year, we are tracking increasing wildfire danger across the state. A look at your next chance of rain is coming up after the break. Hello again, and thanks for sticking around on this sunny Monday afternoon, trying to fight off the Monday blues as best as we can. We kick off this first work week of the new year with above average temperatures. We actually get a little bit warmer than what we're tracking today before we see our next chance of rain around Thursday and Friday. Here's a snapshot of the top half of the week. Middle and upper 60s possible today. Maybe a few neighbors hanging out in the low 60s with some of that cloud cover lingering across our southwest. Tomorrow likely at least getting into the low 70s for a few people. Some of our neighbors further south could likely get a little bit warmer to the middle 70s as a warm front lifts north through the state. Now, a cold front tries to make its way into the state on Wednesday. It'll kind of stall and hang out in our vicinity Wednesday into Thursday, which is going to help spur up some opportunities for rain around that time point. Added a low end risk on Wednesday, really accounting for late Wednesday night into Thursday. Thursday really going to be the standout day for scattered rain coverage across the state. Rain still likely into Friday, but the rain coverage is starting to break down a little bit. Now, as far as Thursday, where we're tracking more of that scattered risk across the state, it does look like the northern third of the state, primarily areas north of where I-40 runs, that has a low end risk of flooding on Thursday. Now, looking at Friday, it looks like the easternmost kind of third of the state has a very low end risk of severe weather. And by severe weather, we do mean those gusty winds of 60 miles an hour or greater. Let's walk through though what the second half of the week looks like using one of our long range models to kind of give you an idea of some timing that we're anticipating with this. This is Wednesday evening. Overnight into Thursday is when we can start to see some rain developing primarily across the northern half of the state. Rain coverage though looking to expand through the day, and overnight into Friday, likely going to continue to see spotty coverage in the state. Where you see some of these darker greens lining up or even some of these yellows, those could be some of those thunderstorms that are A, producing some heavy downpours at times, or B, producing some of those gusty winds that's prompting that low end severe weather risk to our east. You see the greater risk of that is over in Mississippi and Tennessee, but they included a little bit of southern Arkansas in that risk. It does look like as we head into the weekend, the rest of the rain moves out of here with that cold front finally sweeps through, bringing some cooler, drier air. So the weekend will be cooler, but also is looking to see some more sunshine. As far as where we pick up the greatest rain, it does still look like this is mainly going to be across the northern half of the state. Some of these totals have been pulled back a bit since the morning update of this graphic, but it does look like at least into central Arkansas, the Little Rock Metro could see rainfall estimates between about a ½ an inch and 3/4 of an inch. More of this green getting into areas surrounding the Little Rock Metro into central Arkansas, closer to 1/4 of an inch and ½ an inch, and further southwest where we're likely going to see the least amount of rain, closer to 1/10 of an inch, at best closer to 2/10 of an inch. It does look like beyond Friday we have a little bit of a dry streak ahead of us. This is the Climate Prediction Center's 8 to 14 day outlook, kind of encompassing the 12th through the 18th. Much of the middle and deep south under almost a bullseye for below average precipitation. Right now that is supported by our current forecast, at least a 7-day forecast. Definitely looks like it for the 11-day as well, but what we're looking at right now will be the 7-day. So let's round out the week with a look at the week as a whole. 60s today, likely going to see some 70s tomorrow as the cloud cover is picking up ahead of those rain chances. Wednesday leaning a few degrees cooler. Thursday going to be that standout day for scattered rain coverage. Likely still seeing a little bit of rain on Friday that could produce some marginally severe storms that may produce some gusty winds off to our east. And then the cold front sweeps everything out of here in time for the weekend, where we see a little bit more sunshine and some drier conditions that'll likely stick around through the start of next week too.
We all had to start at a pretty high level of proficiency. It was really important.
CBS Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. John LaPoog stopped by the set of HBO's The Pitt to speak with actor and executive producer Noah Weil about how the medical drama strives to portray real life and real problems. Dr. LaPoog, who calls this the most realistic medical show he's ever seen, toured the state-of-the-art set and says he felt like he was practically on the job.
The set was designed before one word of script was written. Wow. So the whole thing is so choreographed. I walked in there and I was like, I'm in an emergency room. It's like, where do I start? Who's my first patient?
Season 2 of The Pitt premieres this Thursday, January 8th on HBO Max. And 2 people in Maryland rang in last year as strangers, but they entered 2026 connected emotionally and physically. Ashley Paul shows us how the gift of life has turned the 2 into family.
Christmas time last year, rather than celebrate with his wife Jen and kids, Jeff Deckman was in the hospital learning his autoimmune kidney disease, IgA, had progressed, and he was in imminent need of a transplant.
When you kind of look at that and you kind of think, what could be the immediate future? Could this be the last time that I go to the beach with my children? Is this the last birthday with them?
With a transplant list 5 to 7 years long, time was not on Jeff's side.
We spoke with someone who said, don't be afraid to ask. Put it out there. That kind of ignited it in me because I thought, what's the alternative?
So on February 24th, Jen posted this flyer to Facebook, sharing Jeff's story anywhere she could, including the This Is Haverty Grace Facebook page. That's where Robin Phelan saw it.
And I opened it, I read it, and I just immediately felt drawn to this family. I mean, just Jen's words of, how much she loves her husband, how much he's a family man, and I just empathize with that.
By the time she brought the idea to her husband, Kevin, her decision was already made.
Her comment to me was that this guy needs to see his kids graduate and see all the events in their life. And I said, if this is what you want to do, I'm in it all the way.
Hi, Jen. I saw your post about the kidney donor. I am blood type A positive.
Would you be willing for us to reach out once the ball is rolling a little further?
Several tests, questionnaires, scans, and meetings, and a few brief messages between Robin and Jen.
So I got a call on a Tuesday in August saying, you have been approved. I messaged Jen and I said, let's do this. And she said,
Please tell me this is, you're telling me what I think you're telling me.
And I said, yes, we got a date November 11th.
What? Robin said she's all set for November 11th.
Are you kidding me?
Nope.
Today, 7 weeks after the surgery, we all sit together in Robin and Kevin's living room, reminiscing about the first time the two families met in person in September after learning the surgery was a go.
So I was excited. We were meeting for the first time, but at that point we were joined together. And it's been that way ever since.
A new kidney giving Jeff a future filled with beach days and birthdays he once feared might run out. And along the way, something else entirely unexpected. Not just a transplant, but a new family.
I'm physically attached to somebody brand new. I think that bond itself is forever now.
It feels so crazy. It's a blessing to me. I feel like I got more than I gave, quite honestly, in all this.
Well, the football transfer portal officially opened on Friday, and, well, there were crickets for a few days, but all that changed yesterday. We'll hear about the 5 commits that new head coach Ryan Silverfield got next in sports.
The THV 11 Sports Desk, sponsored by your Central Arkansas Hyundai dealer.
Well, the Hogs were quiet in their first few days of the transfer portal opening, but not for long. How about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 transfer portal commits from yesterday? From left to right, let's talk about them. Safety Christian Harrison from Cincinnati, offensive tackle Malachi Breland from Memphis, long snapper Adam Johnson from Sacramento State, and then a couple kickers in Tennessee's Max Gilbert, as well as Georgia State's Braden McAllister. Let's talk about it once again, the full list. Harrison, a 3-star transfer from Cincinnati. Breland, a 3-star transfer from Memphis. Johnson from Sac State, and then both Gilbert and McAllister, you guessed it, 3 stars as well. So those are the guys incoming for the season. How about the guys leaving? We figured out this news yesterday as well. The big man, Ian Gerfard, headed to Texas. 3-star defensive end Justice Boone going to Wisconsin. Cornerback Keyshawn Davila headed to Kansas State. And then linebacker Tavion Wallace going to Kentucky. All right, to the basketball world. Arkansas men's basketball starting out conference play with a bang over the weekend in Bud Walton Arena. Hogs beating Tennessee by 11 points behind, yes, a very heroic shot here by Carter Knox, but more notably perhaps a heroic performance from Darius Acuff. The freshman dropping 29 points, including this clutch 3-pointer, and he is quickly becoming, dare I say it, one of Coach Cal's best guards he's ever had.
Darius Acuff is a beast. You can say he's a good player. He is a beast. That's who, when you look at his body, you're like, holy cow, this kid's a beast. So he can he can score all kind of different ways. He's good. I mean, don't tell me there are 15 freshmen better than he in the league.
All right, finally, the first Ludi's Look Back of the new year will drop today at 2:30 on THV 11+. I'll have the pleasure of recapping all of the college basketball action from the first weekend of the new year.
Marisa Vader with today's Mental Health Minute. When was the last time you tried something new? And when you did try that thing, were you hoping that immediately it would come so naturally to you, you'd get it right the exact first time you tried it? I feel like that's human nature, but there's benefits in just trying something and seeing what you learn from it, and maybe even trying again. You don't have to be perfect every time. And that's a reminder today we're getting from Adam Katowski. He's the clinical director of the Grundy Unoya Wellness Center. So it's the start of a new year, a time when we're trying a lot of new things often, and the pressure is on.
Mm-hmm. And we often put pressure on ourselves.
Yes.
We can't go outside and find pressure and put in a wheelbarrow. Mm-hmm. So it's how we react to things. And a lot of things that we encounter are going to be, what are our outcomes, personally and professionally, for the year? Mm-hmm. And to me, there's no such thing as failure, there's only feedback. So when you start somewhere, you start, and then you take that feedback and you progress until you get better and better. And I always look at it as kind of like being that 4-year-old kid in the backyard who wears a superhero t-shirt.
Yes.
They never fail.
Right.
They just do it again and again and again until they master it. So whatever your personal, professional goals are, keep going for it.
And isn't that a nice thought? It really gives you some measure of grace for yourself in this new year or whatever new thing you try, whenever that is. Remember, it is not failure, it is feedback. And take that feedback and use it the next time you take a minute for your mental health.
Some good stuff to think
I
about.
think that's such a great reminder at the top of the year when people are making new goals and new things, because that fear of being seen as a beginner keeps a lot of people from finding success. But sometimes the greatest successes are built from moments of failure.
Yeah, we don't want people to know that we don't know what we're doing, but it's okay to ask questions.
Yeah, it's always great to ask questions. And I mean,
what is the weather today?
The weather today is a really nice afternoon to go sit outside and brainstorm your next new thing you're going to try. That's your assignment today. Tomorrow we'll get to see some slightly warmer temperatures with a similar landscape. Cloud cover building through Wednesday ahead of some rain chances coming Thursday into Friday. All of this ahead of a cool down going into the weekend, but we'll get to see a little more sunshine.
I may have to just go sit outside for a few minutes and soak
ponder
up some of that
the new
sun.
year, reflect on the holidays.
I know, it feels good, the sunshine, and we need it a little bit.
Definitely, but we also need a little bit of rain, so looking forward to that as well.
All right, well, thank you for watching, and make sure you keep it here. We've got more coming up here on THV 11+.